Hey, this is Rob Schneider. Welcome back to See What Happens, the podcast. A lot to talk about today. Of course, we'll have the lovely Patricia Maya Schneider on. And then, and then we'll have Jamie Lissow is back from his sojourn in Alaska. And he'll be talking about his CBS show that he's working on over there. And we got jokes from Mexico and jokes from Italy. And a very funny story about Jay Leno from many years ago. The great Jay Leno. Great guy. Best comic of his generation. Anyway, and all that's coming up. Also, I'm going to be performing this weekend. That's September 21st and 22nd at the Comedy Zone in Jacksonville, Florida. And it's a really fun place to come see comedy. Very intimate. Maybe too intimate. But it'd be fun to see you guys at Jacksonville, Florida. And some other dates will be coming up soon on See What Happens. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, now the team is officially back.
Yes.
Welcome to See What Happens. This is our 15th podcast. Good, believe it or not, people.
Wow.
15. And with Jamie, I think that's like, I don't know, at least half.
Good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
How are things going? By the way, welcome to See What Happens. I'm Rob Schneider, the host, and the hostess with the mostest is, we like to call her the humble opinion of the Mexican.
Mm-hmm. Right here, Patricia Schneider.
And, of course, the one and only, now working for CBS.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The one and only, the very talented and lovely and happy Jamie Lissow.
Great to be here.
Isn't it nice to be
Great
back,
to see you guys.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Is it relaxing coming here?
It's so relaxing, and both your daughters are beautiful and adorable.
Oh, God.
But
Madeline,
She loves you.
she gave me, how many hugs have I gotten?
know.
It's
She
just
loves
really
you.
sweet.
She just comes over and just wants to give you a hug, and that's
It's
sweet.
really sweet.
You've earned that. She doesn't do that to everybody.
She doesn't do that to anybody.
That's just a matter of fact. She doesn't do that to me.
It's so cute when you have a kid that doesn't know fully who I am, that likes me.
What you've exposed of yourself.
Yeah. She knows so
Well,
little.
I gotta
lovely.
say that kids know.
That's true.
You know,
You think they have a...
Well, I think they sense energy better than adults. Like we try to convince ourselves, like, no, that's a good person, even though your gut is telling you that it's not probably a good person, right? I feel like kids
They're
go
like,
with it.
I have to be nice to this person.
Mm-hmm. And kids just go with it. Sometimes, if that's what they say. Well, when I say they say, I mean like probably I read it in a book or a magazine. When a kid doesn't want to give a kiss to someone or a hug to someone, we shouldn't force them. We shouldn't say like, "Come on, is your, like your uncle, blah 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 that you never see." Like if they don't feel like it, they shouldn't.
Love
I
that.
totally just censored myself. That's the world we're living in now.
What
Because
were
I
you
was
gonna
going to
say?
say, like, just like you kiss, come on and kiss this stranger for $1. I mean, isn't that like, isn't that you feel like you have to censor yourself now? Just in
Yeah, I'm
case
glad
it's
you did actually, and then you didn't.
I was doing the exact same thing in my head, censoring myself.
No, but isn't self-censorship isn't that like more now you have to feel like, because now you're working in an environment, Jamie, where you have like, it's a TV show. Why don't you tell people about your new TV show you're working? I mean, it's not that new, but it's new for you.
Yeah, it's
You're a staff writer.
I'm a staff writer,
That's
producer.
pretty cool.
Producer's on there too.
Now, is that a big deal? It's a big deal. Why? It's only a big deal to like writers that they're like they get a producer credit.
It's not a big. It's just the word producer. You're still a writer, but it's. I don't know the difference between a writer and a producer.
It's a big difference if you're like a writer producer, but not to anybody else.
Yeah.
But God bless you, man. I mean,
That's great.
so you're killing it over there. And what's the show?
The show's Man with a Plan on CBS
With the great Kevin Nealon.
the great Kevin Nealon and Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc, very funny Matt LeBlanc.
It's an amazing. This cast is so good.
It's amazing that he's an old guy now, Matt LeBlanc.
He's so It's so fun to watch.
He's not an old guy.
No, but I'm just saying relatively.
Well, compared to when he started
Yeah, because
Friends.
you just see him as forever youthful because that show's
That's
always
true.
playing everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you see him on this show and he's got like gray hair. He's still a good looking dude, but like it's still like it's a bit of like a whoa.
I know,
Playing-
they were so young
Yeah.
in Friends.
Yeah, they were like honestly like a
In their 20s?
comedy. Like late 20s, early 30s maybe. I had a show at the same time, but they had actually the same camera crew.
Really?
Different, yeah. I think they filmed at the Warner Brothers lot, but we were like at the CBS lot doing Men Behaving Badly, and they would be the same camera crew would come over because we shot on like a different night or whatever. Oh. And you'd hear the friends' stories from the crew.
What would you hear? I heard stories that...
I heard that they weren't allowed to talk to them.
You weren't allowed to talk to the
crew
cast?
wasn't allowed to talk to the cast of Friends.
Oh, really?
Maybe to not distract them. I don't think it was like a...
I don't know. I mean, I just remember like they thought it was weird. And I just remember like, well, why are you talking to me then? Go away. I'm going to do the same shit now. No, but it did seem like kind of weird. I did hear that from the crew.
I heard some stories just that the writing hours were arduous because they were, they're a hit show.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the thing. Like, because like the TV show you're working on, people want to get the hell out of there. Do you get the feeling like at a certain point they go like, fuck this, let me get back to my life? Do you get that feeling?
You mean like on
your CBS show?
Like
in the room?
audience or the...
No, I'm talking about the writers. Do you feel like
writers?
at a certain point they like want to get the hell out of there?
I am surprised at how, even when you're staying late in the day...
I'm not surprised at how politically correct you're being.
But I'm surprised at how people are still dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No one's ever like looking like they want to get out of there. People are, especially production week, because, for instance, tomorrow is a table read.
Oh, right.
So
It's
it
big
better
fucking-
be good. And then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
day it's rehearsal, so like it better be good. And
Right.
I think everyone, they wouldn't mind getting home to their families, but you cannot, especially production week, got to make sure it's a good script. And then Friday nights are live taping.
Yeah. Any job, at some point someone is going to be like, I want to go back home.
Well, I would say like maybe 15 years ago, 12 years ago, so there was a lot more TV shows than there are now. So there's a certain amount of like, hey, this is a gig. I want to keep this gig.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that sense, that feeling?
Oh, absolutely. And I would say, because I'm the only one in the room without a family, I mean, I have a family without a family here.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when we get out, sometimes we'll get out at, whatever, 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I wish we were still working. Like, we have late nights and it's hard.
yeah, yeah.
But sometimes when we're done, you could see everyone's like, sweet, I'm going to go home to my family.
I was that way at Saturday Night Live too, and because I didn't have family there either.
I wish I could just stay,
Yeah, I was like, why would anyone want to go home? It's 10 o'clock. Let's keep writing.
Right.
That was like what's the point?
And you're you're basically joking around with friends.
Yeah. And then ordering food that somebody else is paying
Oh,
for.
it's the greatest thing ever.
They go, where do you want to get food tonight? Hey, I don't know. What do you guys feel
That's the
like?
best.
That was
That's so good. I never had that in Mexico.
on your show. You never get to order in food from anywhere?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't have that. It's a different dynamic.
So you didn't.
Basically, when you have free time, you go out and eat.
Oh, well, that's better though. If you all go, at least
No,
go
because
all
sometimes
go out
you don't
together.
have free time. And then you don't eat.
Well, your schedule was ridiculous. How did you get lopped into doing? Because Patricia, I don't know if the listeners know this. You were doing before I stole you away and brought you to America. You were doing 4 shows.
Yeah.
How did you manage doing 4 shows
Well,
at
the
one
fourth
time?
one
4
was-
TV shows.
Yeah, but the fourth one was just like at the very end. So basically, there were only 3.
But there were only 3 shows.
It's unbelievable. At the
Yeah.
same
And
time.
what were the 3?
Yeah, at the same time.
One was the Guerras de
I was
Chistes,
doing
the
a
War of the Jokes.
comedy
Yeah.
show, which was really fun and great, and it was like just 1 hour of jokes. So
Of just
basically,
jokes.
you tell me a joke, I know the joke.
I know.
Yeah.
And also Mexican jokes are different. And I shouldn't say different, but I would just say that like there is a, I don't know. I would say less of a filter. There's less of. It's more direct. And maybe that is that in the translation. But I would say that the Mexican humor is meaner.
That's true. I agree with
But
that.
I don't know why. Now, why would you say that is true? And I'm saying like more direct and more mean. Like if something horrible happens, you're going to see a joke or a meme about it 30 seconds later.
Yes.
And I would say like, whereas in English, in America, you'd say there's more of a filter to it, or there's more, I think there's more of a chance of people going, hey, I don't want people to come back at me with something. Whereas in Mexico, I think it's celebrated if you come up with a joke that's like
Yes,
really
but believe it or not, people are getting more like politically correct.
Oh, really?
In
Okay.
Mexico. Yeah,
It's a shame.
It's a shame there.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of
So
Mexico.
and the Guerras de Chistes, the War of the Jokes.
Yeah.
You were the producer. So what was some of the it was tough because you had to have you couldn't just say the same jokes over and over again.
No, they couldn't. So, but we the comedians they always try to get like new material, but it was hard. But I have to say that some of the jokes were like very popular, so people wanted to see them again.
Well, it's
see them
if
performed
a
again.
joke is if a joke is performed really well and you can enjoy the performance of the joke, you can hear it again. That's not very common in stand-up, would you say?
No, not at all. And I was just going to ask, so this is not stand-up. You're saying they're actually telling a joke.
Yes, they're just telling jokes.
But it's the way like Polo Polo was a very famous Mexican comedian. This is a guy who could sell out in the amphitheater here in Los Angeles. And most Americans, if you're not Spanish, if you're not Mexican, they wouldn't know who he is, but he is a brilliant joke teller, and his jokes sometimes go on for minutes and minutes and minutes, and like it's a beautiful telling of a story. So it's nice to hear that story again. Whereas most comedians, I would say most, are monologists, not really acting out the things, but if you're acting out, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, he's the best. He has like really, really good ones.
Really good jokes, and it's nice because like for me, it's fun because you don't see where it's going.
Yeah,
that's why I like jokes from other cultures. Like,
I would love to tell you one.
Please.
If I can, I know I'm going to kind of like chop it up a little bit. But here's one Polo Polo joke that I really like. So there's this guy who every day outside of his rancho, he sees this beautiful woman driving a Ferrari. And then he comes out,
by the way, can I just interrupt? I've tried to tell this joke. It doesn't work.
So it might not work right now.
No, but I love the joke.
Okay.
And I think I understand it. But like, I'm going to tell the audience right now, I've told this joke to absolute silence.
Okay, lower your expectations, everybody, already.
Okay, so let's just repeat the premise again.
Okay, so there's this man who lives in a ranch, and every day he sees this beautiful woman driving a Ferrari at 10 a.m. in the morning, every day. Every day. So he really wants her to stop one day, right? So he started. He wants this woman so badly that he thinks I have to come up with a plan for this. Yeah. So, anyways, he makes this plan. He says, "I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna paint one of my horses green, and then I'm gonna put it outside." Right before 10 a.m. So when she drives, she's gonna see the horse,
a green horse.
Yeah, and she's gonna say, "Wait a minute, is that a green horse?" And then she's gonna come back, and then she's gonna ask me, "What is that? Is that your horse?" "Yes, it is." "Why is it green?" "Oh, let me take you inside of my house and I'll explain it to you. So I'm going to bring this beautiful woman inside of my house. And previously, I'm already going to lit the fireplace. And I'm going to take out some wine. And I'm going to give her a glass. And then we're going to laugh and we're going to have so much fun. And what an amazing conversation. And then I'm going to start kissing her. And at first, she might not respond immediately. But then she's going to give into my kisses. And then we're going to make love, and it's going to be beautiful. So that's the plan, right? Yeah. So the next day, he wakes up at 8 in the morning. He paints the horse green.
Right. Yeah.
And then, like it's 9:55, he puts the horse outside, and this beautiful woman is driving the Ferrari. And then she sees the green horse, and then she stops.
Wow.
And then
it works.
And then she goes back. She drives back to him. And once she gets out of the car, he looks at her and he said, "Should we fuck?"
He forgot the middle part.
The plan.
Damn. Yeah, he jumped the gun. Yeah. He moved.
And it worked it started to work.
Yeah. He went from B to J.
Ah, damn.
Wow. You see, now that's interesting because I did tell that joke, but it doesn't work in English because I just think it's missing a little something. And it's true, like, when they say Spanish is one of the romantic languages, there's something beautiful about like that I'm sure in Spanish. But there are some jokes that have a beautiful interpretation that work really, really, really well for a joke.
Yeah, but there are certain things obviously that we cannot translate. It's the same thing with songs.
But the cultural differences, the same thing with songs. Like I think my daughter Elle King did the right decision by not going into acting, not going into comedy, but and she's obviously a really talented musician. But I'm just saying, I told her the other day, I said, you did the right thing, because people want to come hear your songs and enjoy the performance of the song. Nobody wants to hear my joke from like the 80s.
So true.
Nobody wants to hear my dude joke, even though it's
You're right. The musician, like they yell out, play this song.
Do that. And nobody says, hey, dude, do that joke you did like in the 80s. It's like, no,
They want a new thing, which music, sometimes they don't even want the new thing.
They don't. As a matter of fact, they don't like the new thing.
They don't
if you do all new stuff, like if you go see Van Morrison and he doesn't play his old stuff, you go, what the fuck's going on with Van Morrison?
Well,
I want to hear Brown Eyed Girl.
But you know why? Because people feel like they're not part of it. That's why it's really important.
Well, I think there's also something else, is that there music and comedy, but I don't know if there's an emotional memory attached to it. So it means something. Just like when you a good meal or something, you bring something to it.
Yeah, but not only that. I mean, when I say people want to be part of something, no, they want to sing along.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that way they feel like they're part of it. That's why, the reason I'm telling you this is because I remember like years ago, I was trying to pitch a show about composers. Like those singing contests.
Yeah.
And then...
But all those, what they really want to hear is the songs they know.
Exactly. That's why this would never work.
They don't want to hear new
songs. And this was explained to me by the producer. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I never thought about it. He said, nobody wants to hear new songs, like people singing new songs.
It's tough.
Because what they really want to sing, what they would really want to see on TV is people performing the songs that they know and they loved, just to compare who sings it better.
Wow. But at the same time, if you do have a new song that has very catchy, that gets to the hook right away and it's a good hook, I mean, it's the greatest.
Speaking of which, I obsess with those shows. I don't see the show.
I love you.
I love watching on YouTube
the auditions,
like the auditions, and then who made it,
and then who has a career after that.
There's this guy.
Back and you can go back and see the guys the first time, and now he's the next thing he's hosting the show.
Yeah, exactly. But there's this guy that he is he's a former firefighter, Stevie McRory.
Oh yeah, you showed me this.
I love that guy.
I would have never seen it. I would have never been any interest at all in seeing that unless you put it in front of my face.
That's true. But isn't he great?
Incredible.
He won the whole thing,
and it makes you like that's one of the rare things. That's one of the rare things. It's like I remember when I was, my on Saturday Night Live years ago. I just remember like Jim Downey saying a really important thing to me, just like, "Hey man, you've been given goodwill by the American public. Be careful how you spend it," But like that guy has such goodwill. You root for the guy. Most people you don't root for.
No, he has an incredible voice.
He's a fireman to begin with. You sense this guy
is a good person.
Don't you love a fireman? I love a fireman.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go. That fireman.
We love our firefighters.
You know what you never hear? That fireman's an asshole.
Never hear that.
Yeah,
You're
you don't
right.
go like this asshole saving those people across the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first people, and like the thing about the firemen, it's also like, they're the first people there, and they might not have the right equipment to deal with what's happening, but they got to deal with what they have. You know what I mean? The chemical spill or some horrible thing,
They're fantastic. Our daughter, Miranda, she's obsessed with our firefighters.
They saved our home.
But we also go all the time.
They saved our home.
Yeah.
These firemen.
Yeah.
Literally. And not just the firemen here in Calabasas, but the firemen that came from all over the country, and especially up from Northern California, from Riverside. I just want to say about the firemen in Riverside who came here. And these are, like, I'm telling you, like, incredible people. And these guys, these young guys in their 30s, are leaving their families, coming up here to save homes that people they don't even know, they don't even live in the community. They just came here and living in tents, sleeping in tents at night.
That's incredible.
And just, and all the stuff and risking their lives and their health because, it wasn't just wood burning in these homes. They have television sets burning, couches with all these chemicals. That's the stuff that's in the air that just kind of like, hey, let's not deal or talk about that, So these are incredible people. But that's nice. But our daughter, Miranda, just, really is obsessed with them. And
she loves them. And every time she
wants to give them stuff.
Yeah, every time she's like, okay, let's go say hi and let's bring some popsicles. If it's a hot day, she wants to bring popsicles.
No, she's the sweetest girl.
She wants to bring like cupcakes. She loves them. And every time we go, they're super sweet. And they always have, time to talk to the girls. And
I had an argument with a guy because we were both trying to. Right after the fires came, these firemen were going to get lunch, some stuff for the firehouse. Me and this other guy were just fighting over to pay for the stuff at the grocery store. No, I got it. No, let me get it. It's like these are the guys, and they're still like got smoke on them and stuff. So anyway, okay, we're going back to the jokes now. So
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, and I know we're past it. but I'm still trying to understand. So he paints the horse. And is he just
in his mind?
He's so excited that the beginning of the plan worked.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a slight erection. He just goes right to the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. So it's a plan that was well thought out, and he just didn't stick to it.
Couldn't believe that it worked.
Yeah.
And he panicked.
Yeah.
He did. He jumped.
He jumped a little bit.
Well, that's what I like about like jokes from other countries, especially Mexico. And Italy is another one. Like our friend Luciano. Luciano is this beautiful guy, and his lovely wife Loretta, who's like 1.5 feet taller than him. It seems like.
Yeah.
And Luciano's one of those guys from Italy, and he's one of these guys he's Italian.
I don't know what that had to do with anything. But
No, but he's one of these guys
true.
like
Like Luciano, you don't even have to say one of these guys from Italy.
no. But he's one of these guys from Italy. His English over the years isn't getting better; it's getting worse.
Like Franco.
And like Franco, yeah. And the our good friends Terry and Roseanne, they say like his English is getting worse. In 5 years, we don't think we're going to be able to understand him anymore. I just love that. What a great thing. He tells a joke, and he tells jokes that his delivery is so funny because he's Italian. His delivery is so beautiful that when I tell jokes that he tells, first of all, you don't even know where they're coming from, and his delivery is so beautiful that you have to tell it like him. Like he says, there was this what happened. I don't think a lot of people remember this or would have any interest in it, but like it's a real thing. Albania, the country of Albania, their monetary system went bankrupt. I mean, their money was useless because of the lottery. That in 1992, they had a lottery thing that happened, and it literally bankrupted the whole country. I'm not kidding you. 1992. And so these Albanians, like their money was no good anymore. They literally had to get because once you've given over to this monetary system, and all of a sudden the monetary system no longer is working, when people go, this money's either worth money, and everybody agrees, and the government agrees, and if it's not agreeing anymore, then it's nothing. It's not worth anything. Mm-hmm. So everyone has to agree. And at that point, I don't know exactly what happened, the machinations of it, but I know it began with a lottery. I got to look it up exactly what happened. But anyway, so the country went bankrupt, and people were fleeing and getting the hell out of there. And so they were crossing over the Adriatic Sea to get over, and they were landing in Italy by the thousands of these Albanians. And as soon as that started, and half an hour later, Italians were telling Albanian jokes. Mm-hmm. And some of them like a joke that they probably would never say today, whatever. But so Luciano started telling these Albanian jokes. It's like who hears a joke about an Albanian guy? And so he told me, there this Italian guy sees this Albanian guy eating the grass. He says, "What are you doing? Come to my house." And he goes, no, but you're eating the grass, come to my house. He says, no, but it's not me, it's also having my wife. It's okay, bring her too. He said, but we also have our 6 children. It's okay, bring them as well. But we also have our aunts and uncles. It's okay, bring them. But then they have their children. Say, bring them all. Because at my house, the grass is this high. I mean, it's a mean joke. But it's really funny. Mm-hmm. But the thing to me, the humor of it is, I didn't see it.
It's very similar to Mexican humor.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe it's something to do with the romantic language, but it's also the fact that it's like, it's such a joke, that he's basically treating these people like goats. But it's also, you're dealing with like people starving and poverty and out of their home. But then you have to make sense of the world, and you have to you laugh at it or you cry.
Exactly. That's what I think happens in Mexico.
In Mexico,
we have to laugh at those things because otherwise we would be just depressed.
Like, what is another one? Because some of the Polo jokes would be considered be unacceptable in some of the subject matter. Even in today, like I think some of the comedians some of the greats, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, with the exception of Sarah Silverman, I think can get away with anything. And the way she sets it up by saying she can't say something anymore, and she just has a genius way of getting to the subject matter. But I'll give you Polo jokes. One of my favorite of his is the one about, and again, this is also inappropriate, and like you I don't know if you can.
All of his jokes are inappropriate. Okay, all of them.
But they know. But when you go see Polo, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, of course.
But he does this joke about this guy. He said there is this guy, this minor in this mining town, and he needs to get a drink. He says, I gotta get a drink. It's been a long week, and this first week in the mine. And he says, The guy says, where can I go to get a drink? And he said, well, there's a drink. There's only one bar in town, but you can't go there. And he goes, why? Because at the bar, there's this the wheelbarrow rapist.
Oh, no.
And he goes, it was like, what? No, you can't go there, senor. You can't go, because if you go in there, the next thing you have a drink, the next thing you know, you're being wheeled down in the wheelbarrow, and you get raped. And he says, oh, that's terrible. But I got to get a drink. So he goes to the bar and he gets a drink. The next thing you know, he wakes up and he's in this wheelbarrow getting pushed down the mine. He says, no, please don't rape me. Please don't rape me. And the guy says, nah, I already raped you. I'm taking you back to the bar.
Oh, my God.
Now, that's a tough joke. Mm-hmm. That is a very tough joke. But it's so fucking funny.
I guess it's good it's over. You know what I mean?
You mean to the joke or the guy?
This is
both.
Yeah, but it's the guy.
But no, that is a tough joke.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Polo, in his way,
funny.
He's just funny.
Performer.
And there's to me, I think, I think the difference now is people are heightened in their sensitivity to this person who's, clearly no one's being raped in a wheelbarrow while this is happening. It's not like we're watching that, but there's such a heightened sensitivity that people feel they're being judged if they laugh at that. Therefore, they can't. Whereas, there used to be, when I was a kid, you used to have, you'd go into B. Dalton bookstores, and, there would be, a rack of these books, and it was all nationalities jokes about Polish jokes, Italian jokes, Mexican jokes, Italian jokes, whatever, and, Swedish jokes. And that
what were those called? The offensive jokes, volume 3, and
it was, and they would we would read these jokes, and it was how can you tell an Italian airplane? And how can you tell if it's an Italian airplane?
How?
It's got hair under the wings. That was one of the. That's one of the the shitty jokes in there. But I just remember and then sometimes they'd have a picture with a plane with hair under the wings, and it was just
Yeah.
And then the Polish jokes were just, basically how dumb the guys were. And it was just I don't think anybody took offense to it. And then there's something happened, I think, in the 80s where they said, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do this. They started making dumb blonde jokes. And I just remember okay, it's the same fucking Polish jokes, Italian jokes, except just with the exchanging dumb blonde as if they can't or wouldn't know they're being made fun of.
Yeah, I think they figured they couldn't read, and so they wouldn't complain about it.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
So what were some of the other ones that you remember, those jokes?
Oh, there are so many. But anyways,
But do you feel...
it's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference in the humor, definitely.
But you're talking about
people
interesting.
Are getting a little bit more politically
correct.
correct.
Really? Even there, really?
A little bit.
But you found it to be it could be a tougher life. Then you need tougher jokes.
It's a tougher life, so you need to really laugh. Because, I feel like there's certain things that I've shown you before, like videos or stuff. Like I sent you that rescue, right?
Oh my God!
You saw that
Yes.
video
No,
that
this
I
is
sent you with the rescue and the music, and it's
Is it the guy spinning around?
Yeah,
It's a woman being rescued from a helicopter.
yeah.
And this is a very complicated joke because you have to have some sense of awareness of this particular Mexican performance.
Yes.
Which is guys on the top of a pole
Yeah.
that are spinning around, and the wire, the rope is getting a little bit longer, a little
Yeah.
bit longer, a little bit longer, and it's very dangerous.
Yes.
Because they're on a pole, suspended, and they have to all balance each other. And as they're spinning around faster and faster, and they're getting further and further away, and then they got to come back all at the same time, and
they land.
And at the same time, there's this pan flute going.
Yeah.
And as they're spinning faster, the pan flute increases in speed. And how does it go exactly?
I don't.
You can play it on your phone. Play it on your phone. Just play it on your phone real quick.
These guys are the voladores de Papantla, and you can look for it.
Voladores. They're not going to know how to spell that.
Of course not.
Just play the music, please, so that they can hear this.
Okay, let me find it.
Well, she's looking it up. Have you guys seen... I lost 3 hours of my life yesterday watching videos of a man slipping down a driveway. Did you guys see that video?
No.
No.
Is it a bunch of videos or just one?
It's a bunch of videos, but there's one headline.
Jamie loves
that I feel
compilations.
I love a compilation.
Yeah.
And it's this guy, and he basically... We'll link it in the show notes so you can see it. But it's this guy who... It's a beautiful Ring camera, like one of those Nest cameras outside. So it's like perfect. And he leaves his house, and there's a long driveway, and he slips a little bit, then tries to catch himself, and proceeds to slip the entire length of the driveway.
Okay.
Like his feet are next to each other, and there's moments where he's like, "Oh, I'm got it. Everything's fine." Then it's not fine, and then it's fine again. He goes all the way down the entire driveway, and then does like a backflip right in front of his
my God.
on the grass in front of his mailbox.
Well, at least he landed on the grass.
It was, and he's wearing a suit. Like it's his day's ruined. Like he's got to go change. But it's amazing. It was the longest slip I've ever
So, I
seen.
mean, he's probably an athlete then, because obviously if he's able to maintain it all the way down the driveway, he had some good body control.
It's unbelievable. It was everywhere. It was on all the news.
Okay,
It's one of those that was so funny.
Okay.
I'll
Now,
put you-
here, after that long... And so as this is playing, you see the guys on the pole, and they're slowly spinning
Yeah.
and spinning. You can keep
So
playing
they
it. They're spinning, they're spinning, and they're spinning, and they're spinning, and then they're spinning. And then as it increases, they start to spin faster. You see, it's going a little faster. The guy's spinning. Now, so of course, so you see, it's a See, this joke to me works on because if you're familiar with this, Mexican circus performance,
It's not a circus performance.
what is
it's
it?
a performance.
Okay, it's a performance. Okay,
Jesus, it's an indigenous performance.
it's an indigenous performance.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's acrobatic. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's
acrobatic.
it's an indigenous acrobatic act. Okay, apologies. Now, from that, there is a video of a woman being rescued in Mexico on a helicopter, and she's.
Well, we don't know if she was rescued in Mexico. We
But
don't know
anyway,
what-
somebody
we don't know
got
what
the
it
footage, but it just seems
Yeah.
like they became popular in Mexico. So this woman is being brought up,
We'll put the link on too.
Yeah,
so
we'll
they can
put.
see it.
So this is a woman being brought up from a basket.
Yeah.
Obviously, a horrible thing had happened to her, and she thinks, "Oh God, at least I'm being rescued." Finally, they put her in a basket, and they're raising her up from the basket.
Is that
from
a
the ground.
basket? No.
Yes, it's a basket.
It's a bed, right?
No, but it's a basket. That's what they
Oh,
call it. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's like it looks like
It's
a-
my language. Excuse me. See, mi primero idioma. See, my first language. Please let me. It's a fucking basket from a helicopter.
It's like
okay?
a stretcher, but it's
Shut the fuck up. It's a no. God damn, it's your language too. God damn. No, it's a fucking basket. It's hanging underneath. It's a rescue basket. I think that's I don't
Stretcher. I think it's a stretcher.
Good God. Anyway, so she's being lifted up. She fell off a cliff. Something horrible.
Stretcher is in a basket in the video.
Yeah, let's see. You can slide off a fucking stretcher. If you're getting pulled up from a stretcher, you go, ah!
They
But
actually
if you're in a
used to-
basket,
yeah,
you're
I think that's what the mistake was in this rescue.
so this
They used
woman
to use the stretcher and switch to the basket.
I think
because
so.
people were falling
slipping
in.
off,
Yeah.
Rob and Lynn. So anyway, we continue with the story. The basket's being brought up. So the basket's being raised from and bring on a rope to the helicopter, slowly coming up, and just the wind or something starts slowly spinning and spinning and spinning, just like in this same acrobatic indigenous act, and it's spinning and spinning, and it starts spinning wildly out of control. And you just imagine this person that's trying to get rescued, thinking this is worse than what fucking falling off the cliff. But the thing that makes it so funny is the indigenous music element that they put into it, and it once you understand what that is, it's screamingly funny.
Yeah.
Because it's the music thing and the fact that this is like
The
as
fact
if
that somebody put that together.
yeah, that somebody
Like,
really
it's the music and
had
that.
to have the the knowledge of it and go like whoa, this is like that. Can you imagine the way? And it is one of the things that just you're crying laughing, even if
Yes.
you're unfamiliar with the once you understand like what I just said, you understand the cultural connotations to it. It's really funny, and that's the
Yeah.
thing about Mexico. It's like, and I think we talked about this before, but there's like Faberucci. Was like one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. I didn't even know who this guy was. He's like a what would you say? A host, right?
Yeah.
He's a host in Mexico.
Yeah.
And who got beat up by a gay prostitute, and really badly. I guess the guy didn't want to pay him. I mean, he didn't want to pay the guy or whatever happened, and he got, savagely beaten. And so, of course, in Mexico, they have to do a joke about it. And at this one time that this happened, he just, unfortunately for Faberucci, besides getting beaten to within an inch of his life, he also got beaten at a time when they were doing a promotional campaign for domestic abuse. And it was every famous woman in Mexico, or every picture was this video of a very famous woman spinning around in a chair. And it was really shocking to see this famous woman. And who were some of the women?
Well, actresses,
Authors.
TV journalists.
Yeah, and they were all turning around slowly, and you saw like a black eye, like they've been beaten, and basically, sorry to laugh.
You're laughing again.
No, I'm laughing at what they do to Fabrici. So, and it said in Spanish, it said like, when you hit one of us, you hit all of us, and then the last one. It's like a woman, this is an important woman, and the last one is this Fabrici beaten up by a gay prostitute that he didn't pay to have sex with. And this the turnaround, and you see the Fabrici, and I didn't even know Fabrici. I didn't even know. I just think like it was screaming.
I think you still don't know who he is.
I've never seen him. I've only seen him in that. But like I just remember thinking, oh my god, it's like so inappropriate, so mean, so like so
It's so wrong
making fun, so wrong in every way, like belittling or making light of like the serious issue, which is domestic abuse, but showing this guy is just. Screamingly, I mean, I remember I was laughing for 2 minutes at a guy who'd been beaten to an inch of his life. It was just again one of those things that's like it's so inappropriate. But like to me, it's like if you don't laugh, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
exactly. What are you gonna do?
I meant to tell you too. So Patricia sent me, and I know we have a similar sense of humor, and but I never told you she sent me that video on Instagram, and it said like, "Look how hilarious this is." And then I watched it without volume.
Oh,
yeah.
It was just a woman not being rescued. And I was like, I don't know if this is funny, Patricia. And then I hit the volume.
Oh yeah.
So like without the music, I thought you were just like, look at this shit, it's hilarious.
No, but it is.
I can't get her in there.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's funny. You have to have.
You never text back like,
did I not?
Or anything? No.
Well, the thing about it's like you have to have the whole package. You're missing one little element.
That's true.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It was missing that one.
I was so confused.
It's like a fish pie without the fish.
That's funny.
So,
So yeah, definitely. I mean, humor
those
is
are killer.
different, but
I love jokes from different countries, and some of them don't work.
yeah,
Some of
that's
them
true.
just don't translate.
Some I
German
try to
jokes,
translate.
like taking the Sudetenland, didn't work. Annexing the Sudetenland.
I just heard a joke. Do you guys
Didn't
want
work.
to hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just heard a new joke that I really like. So
Yes.
I heard this joke originated with Jay Leno told the guy that told me.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
And
I love this already.
So this guy
Jay loves jokes, by the way.
I really like this one. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we don't hear a good joke.
Yeah.
Good jokes very often.
But like Adam Sandler, Jay Leno, these guys love to tell jokes. Like Jerry Seinfeld, they're just like if they got a really good joke
Yeah.
that they just love. Have you heard this one? Because they just it's that whole thing about telling a joke, which I think comes from their dads or whatever. It's like, hey, you got a joke here, and they're like, whoa, and you can both really share this big laugh together. It's such a great feeling. It never loses you. But like Jay Leno loves to tell jokes.
And I'm not a great joke teller.
I want to hear that.
I'm not a great joke teller. But what happened was this guy, he's very religious, and he enters a lottery to win. The Pope is going to have some people over, and you're going to get to go in his backyard, a very small group of people, and you're going to get to an intimate setting, and you're going to get to actually meet the Pope.
Very, very special.
And so this guy who's very religious ends up winning, and he gets to go to this event, and he gets to go to the Pope's backyard and meet him. He's very, very excited. So he gets there. There's like about 30 people, and he gets to the end of the line, and they're all waiting. And the Pope comes out. He's like, oh, this is incredible. Like, who would ever get to do this? And so the Pope sees the line of people, and he starts sort of giving each person in line a moment, like a special moment because they're there. So he like shakes the first guy's hand, shakes the second guy's hand. He's like, this is amazing. I'm going to shake the Pope's hand. He gets to like the 10th guy, and the guy is wearing like a dirty coat and a hood. He looks like a homeless guy. And when the Pope gets to him, he shakes his hand, and then he leans in and gives him like a nice hug to the homeless guy. So the guy's at the end of the line. He's like, wow, I'd love to shake the Pope's hand, but man, would I love a hug from the Pope. So as the Pope's making his way down the line, the guy jumps out, goes up to the homeless guy, and he goes, hey, I'll give you $100 if you let me borrow your jacket and your hood. So he's going to look homeless. This way he gets a hug from the Pope.
Okay.
So then he goes back to his place in line. He's at the very end, and the Pope gets to the guy beside him, shakes the guy's hand. He gets to him, shakes his hand, leans in, and gives him this nice hug. And he whispers in his ear, I thought I told you to get the fuck out of here.
That's a good one.
That's a solid joke.
That's a good one.
It worked better with an Italian accent. I thought I told you to get the fuck out of here.
And
Wait
then
a second,
when the
we have a
person told
visitor.
when the
We got a
person told me
visitor.
the joke, they actually hugged you, which actually made it funnier. Like did an actual hug.
We got a visitor here.
Got a visitor.
there.
Hi, Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
Happy birthday, by the way. How old are you, Madeline? How old are you?
How old are you?
How old are you? How old are you now?
Oh, she's holding up two
Uno,
fingers.
dos,
Tres.
tres. How old are you?
Schneider is living. And I am my lollipop. I'm king.
Oh.
Oh, there's your
Okay.
puppy. Yes, sweetheart.
I can come there.
Hmm?
I can come in here.
Yes, you can come.
Of course
in
you can
here.
come in. Every room in the house is
Come here,
yours,
sweetie.
open to you.
She's gonna
Always. And we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to tell you all the places that you can come see me, Rob Schneider, live. This weekend, Friday the 20th of September, this Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be in Jacksonville, Florida at the Comedy Zone. Jacksonville, Florida. That's going to be fun. And then I'm going to be in Coquitlam, BC. That's September 27th, Friday. Coquitlam, BC. And that's at the Molson Canadian Theater at the Hard Rock Casino. And then you can catch me if you want to go to Nevada at the Mont Bleu Casino Resort and Spa. And that's October 4th. So you can see me this weekend, Jacksonville, Florida. And then next weekend, I'll be at Coquitlam, BC. And then October 4th, State Line, Nevada. And then also we added a show at Sally Tomatoes in Rohnert Park. Sally Tomatoes, Rohnert Park. That's October 5th. We'll be doing 2 shows. I get to see my buddies out there. My buddy Rick Glosser and Monica Torres are going to come see me. Woo! And then, of course, I'll be at the Blue Lake Casino October 6th, Sunday. And then the following weekend, no, not the following weekend, but October 18th and 19th, I'll be at Ontario, at the Ontario Improv. And then one of my favorite places to play, the 25th and the 26th, is La Jolla Comedy Store, La Jolla. That's all this month in September. So I hope to come. Hope you guys come out and see me, and it'd be great. And come out and see what happens. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you Jay Leno's story. Now I love Jay. Jay's one of those guys who is like, Jay's one of those guys who, when I was first working, was like so helpful to me. Just to figure out, you have somebody who, you have a great comedian who's like a professional guy making a living at it and making like one of the best comedians. Like, you better listen to this guy's advice, and he told me early on, how much time you got, kid? And I went, about 8 minutes. He said, good. You know what, the thing is, most comedians, they ask how much time you got. They think, I got like 2 hours. Who wants to hear 2 hours of comedy material? You're going to have, 5 minutes that kills every time, everywhere you go, every time. Or you don't have that, you don't have anything. All you need is 20 minutes to become a star. So he just basically gave me a roadmap of how to, become a
great
star.
advice.
And then the next thing I know, I worked on that 5 minutes, and like 18 months later, I did it on Letterman. So anyway, I'll tell you this. This is a true story about Jay Leno, about the time that I met him back in 84, 85. And he was very popular doing this this thing on Letterman, which he became really like went from club act to like theaters, like big theaters, like 2,500 seaters. And it was like, what's your beef, Jay? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Hey, let me tell you my beef, Dave. Dave, let me tell you my beef. You think, and he would tell whatever thing his beef was. And so what happened was back in the 80s, there used to be, before the intranet, there used to be this thing called Comedy USA or whatever, and the comedy clubs would have it, and it would advertise, if you were a famous comedian and had money, like Jerry Seinfeld or Jay Leno, you would have, you'd advertise in this thing, and you'd say where you're going to be. I'm going to be in the 6th, I'm going to be in San Antonio, and the Civic Auditorium. The 8th, I'll be in Dallas, and then the 9th, I'm going to be in the Cleveland Auditorium, and the 10th, I'm going to be in, in Baltimore at the Civic. And so and sometimes he would do like a theater or maybe a club or whatever for a one nighter or whatever if it was an off night. And so what happened was somebody it was a comedian would find out where the next place he was going to play, and there was a comedian from Minneapolis. Okay, this comedian would call up the place where Jay was going to play, and he'd say like, "Hey, it's Jay Leno." He says, "Hey, what's going on, Jay? Yeah, when you come at me, I'm going to need when you come pick me up at the airport, I need $25,000 in cash. Can you just make sure I have it at the airport with me in a paper bag?" And so the guy would show up, and Jay would go, "Hey, how are you?" He says, "Hey, Jay, here's the paper bag of $25,000. Well, what's that for?" I said, "No, well, you called and said, no, I didn't call. I didn't call. What are you talking about? I didn't call anybody. I didn't say anything about cash." And so then he would show up the next place, and the guy would go, "Hi, Mr. Leno." I said, "Hey, how you doing, man? Well, here's the $25,000. What's that? What the hell is this?" He said, "No, you said you called and said like, I need $25,000 in cash." And then he'd start to get meaner, like, "I'm not going to show up if you don't have the cash. I'm not going to show up. You need to have the cash in a paper bag, or I'm not going to show up." And I'm telling you, I'm gonna get back on the plane, get the hell out of there. So they were like, So after a while, it started to get meaner, and he'd show up and go, "Hey, Mr. Leno," he said, "I didn't answer $25,000 cash. What is it?" And so finally, he got smart to it and said, "Listen," he called ahead because he realized the schedule's out there, and he called up and said, "Hey, listen, let me tell you something. If somebody calls and says like, I want $25,000 in cash, if they call you, I want you to get their number. So, hey, yeah, no problem, Mr. Leno. I'll call you right back. Get that number, and then give that number to me, okay?" Mm-hmm. So he finds out that he does, and the moron comedian who's doing the great Jay Leno impression, like, he gets the number, and Jay finds out who that guy is, okay? Mm-hmm. And here's Jay Leno, the great Jay Leno, and this is the nicest guy, in the history of comedy, right? So this is a guy. He finds out this guy's performing. I think his name was Jeff something. I don't know specifically his name. Minneapolis comic. He's gonna come out and audition for the Tonight Show at the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach. Okay, and Jim McCulley, which is the booker. This is the biggest show, and this could make or break careers. The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and McCulley's going to come, and he hears about this, and he says, if this guy's ever coming, let me know when this guy's coming. So he's going to come and audition for Jim McCulley to get the Tonight Show. This comedian coming from Minneapolis. So he comes in, and Jay says, "Hey, by the way, that comedian you said he's going to be here. He's auditioning from McCulley." He said, "Hey, you know what? You mind if I come in and do a set?" So before this guy goes on stage, before we bring up this guy, we have a special guest tonight.
Oh, God.
Jay Leno. And Jay goes up, and, one of the greatest stand-up of his era. Absolutely, without question. And anyone who says differently doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. He goes up and blows out the room for an hour. Does an hour, blows it out.
Oh, my God.
And then, of course, the guy can't follow him and didn't get the Tonight Show.
Oh.
And isn't that a great one?
See what happens?
See what happens right there, people. All right. So, hey, Jamie, we wish you the best. How do people get a hold of you, by the way?
I'm an Instagram guy these days, so I'm up on Instagram at I am Jamie Lissow.
I am Jamie. That's how easy it is to get a hold of you?
That's how easy it is.
And do you respond to people if they say things to you?
I'll sleep with them if they want.
Oh, you choose? Well, that's interesting.
I'm just kidding.
That's Tinder.
Oh, that's
Not
a different...
Instagram.
Okay.
No, but I respond to almost everybody.
Well, that's pretty damn good. That's right. And congrats on the gig.
Thank you, man. I miss you guys. This was really fun.
We'll get to do our show. We're working on that one.
Yeah.
The reincarnation of the real Rob Show.
Can't wait.
To the Rob Show, whatever it's called. And Patricia, tell us about you. What's going on?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at I am Patricia Maya. And right there, if you click on my bio, you can go to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You can find you on YouTube and you're cooking stuff.
Yeah, I'm cooking.
And the stuff, is it complicated? The stuff you're cooking, or is it pretty easy?
Easy, healthy recipe. Well,
That's
healthy-ish.
Healthy-ish. Right? It's Mexican, so it can't be that too healthy. Right? Okay.
Well, traditional Mexican actually is not as bad.
Yes.
I gotta say.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, anyway, thank you for this has been another. It's been see what happens with Jay Leno impression. And Jamie, thanks for coming out, and
Great to be
Patricia, and we'll do this again. And thank you for listening, so that you could see what happens.